Hello, everybody. My name is Brendan Hannum, and I want to welcome you to my first devlog. Um, I'm a computer science major in my senior year at St. Joseph's University, and one of my hobbies that I do on the side is game dev. So, basically, me and my buddy, whose name is James Miller, who is also a senior computer science major, do these little game jams with each other where we kind of pick a topic or a restriction or just something that we want to explore, and we give ourselves a time frame to do it. And usually it produces some interesting results. And then, I fell into this period where I wasn't able to do the game jams. My Unity just wasn't working. And that period's over. I don't know what happened, but I'm able to access Unity and practice with it. So that brings us to the Blob Game, which is something I kind of sold James on just recently, just earlier this week. So I'll give you a quick rundown of where the project is at the moment. It's in its very infancy, so it'll go quick. And then I'll give you a quick demo, and that'll be it. So some of the creature features, the blob creature features that we completed so far are petting, feeding or eating, and roaming. So it's pretty simple right now. The blob can't do too much, but I figured like core functionality was all I really cared about at the very, very beginning. And then the blob features that we're going to complete as soon as possible. Jimmy was working on this already, I'm pretty sure. But we have a menu. So we want some sort of menu per blob, and we want an inventory to be integrated with that menu, because if we're going to be feeding the blob fruits, there has to be some kind of mechanism to hold on to those fruits between scenes. So we need one of those menu options, whatever other ones there may be. One of them is going to be an inventory that allows you to feed the pet somehow. So we're still working on how to do that. There's a couple different ways you can. Then we want the fruit type to affect the color. So I think I have fruit up. No, neither one of them are up. It's okay. I'll quick import it live. So we have two different types of fruits. They're going to be color swapped, and I'll be doing more of them. But we want different fruits to affect the color of the blob, so that not every blob is just this gray generic type up in the left corner. And then we want real stats for blobs. So with these different fruits, we want the fruits to have not just satisfy the blob's hunger, but to also influence different characteristics of the blob and possibly allow it to gain new abilities, that sort of thing. So we want the blob to be customizable to an extent. And then in the future, down the line, not things like more large-scale concepts that we haven't even tackled yet, but they're definitely going to be a part of the game, is the outer world, which is kind of a concept where you build up all these different stats for your blob, and then what do you do with them? So the outer world is going to be a place where you can kind of exercise all these different abilities that you're building with the fruits, and blob can either progress possibly a storyline or find key items or do some sort of platforming, and this is all going to be influenced by the way you treat your blob in the little hub world, or like the little playground that you keep it in and feed it and play with it and stuff. So then we want to do evolutions of the blob. So this is kind of just an expansion upon the different stats and feeding it different fruits. I'm hoping that somehow within that we can guide the player to want to gain, kind of a favorite attribute. So if it's more focused on speed over strength, it might reach a different stage in its life where it starts to, gain physical features that represent that favoritism. So that's what the evolutions will be. And since it's a lot of sprite work to do that kind of stuff, that might take the longest. So I'm on sprite work. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out, because I really want to do it the right way, which means it's gonna take a lot of, finagling, and it's gonna be 4 sprites per animation, so that's just a lot of work, but we'll figure it out. And then a time system for limiting the amount of things done at a time. So this is just to keep all the interesting things that happen in the game paced out, or like spaced out, so that they don't all happen within a day. Like, you don't want to evolve your blob 3 times in a day, obviously. So yeah, that is just, visual aid, but let's go into the actual application itself, and I guess it's loading the assets and such, but here we are. So I'll turn off the fruit to start, because I just want to show you it roaming. Well, hopefully this doesn't take too long. My computer died. I've recorded this like 3 different times tonight, so obviously it will load. I promise the build isn't broken. I just love the way that like the main game integrated with that kind of like side quest of raising the chows. So that's where Blob came from. But here's the guy roaming around, and you see that little bar in the top right is like depleting over time to give the impression that he's losing energy as he moves and spends his energy. That's probably going to be something that we use in the outer world more than here, because in the hub world, obviously, he's just moving around, and he's safe here. He's not spending energy per se. So that's him roaming. Just moves back and forth. I don't even think it stops when he's all the way at the end. I think he just keeps going. Actually, let's turn on this fruit and see what happens. How about that? So there you go. There's an example of it eating. And lastly, I will pet him. So he loves when you pet him. You can tell clearly. You can also click this button over here, but eventually that'll be in possibly within the menu. So he's trying to, said he was doing an on hover type menu. It'll also probably pull up some attributes over to the right. So that's where we're headed with the game, and that's where we're at the moment. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.